Okay. Okay.
Oneness family, this is Shophar from Faux Show Energy Work and Faux Show Health, and I'm here to help you today breathe magic into your life. And today my guest is Kenya K. Stevens. What can I say about this sister, man? Like, she's made room for people all around the world to up-level their lives and to do bigger things in their relating, you know. As we can see in today's time, that's one of the biggest things that I think can change the world is our relationships. And when the tide is rising, you know, and it's kind of like we need a Noah's Ark right now. We need some relationships to come save us and everything. And so this is a womb being. This is a person that's doing that work on this plane for all of us. And so I wanted to have her on here so that we could honor her. So good to see you again, Kenya.
Same here, Shophar. It's so lovely to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so just real quick background. I tell people that, like, far as the heroine or the hero or hero's backstory, I don't usually go into all of that because you have a lot of other things out there where people are asking you, like, wait, you know, we can put those links down below. I want to get into some deeper stuff with you. So, but just so that the tribe out there knows, Kenya back in 2007, in this lifetime, was one of those people who helped remind me of my own shaman journey. Had me do some stuff at the time that felt kind of weird and a little different. But it was helping me to walk in my own, magic self again, to remember these things. So that's what I wanted to bring her on for. So with that being said, Kenya, one of the first things I wanted to ask you is, like, as a foundation for us to build the rest of this interview with, is oneness. I've heard you say that the work that you do, that's one of the things that's so powerful to me. Like, this is coming from my ego. You know, this is, I want to speak, you know, about the tree of life and oneness, like why you do your work and how that ties into the concept or the idea of oneness.
Right. I think that idea is just such, it can be very cerebral or people intellectualize it, but it really is literal. You know what I mean? We are one being. We are literally one being. And if we could really look at it like this, the world would be a much different place. Relationships would be much different. And that's really the message I've tried to put forth. But you have to have a way to practice that in a practical way. So what? We are all one. What does that mean? How should I treat you? So for us in our practice, I should treat you as my mirror, as my reflection. I often say that you really don't love anyone unless you can see yourself in them. You don't love them if you cannot see that everything that they trigger about you is you. I mean, you have to see that they are you. All of the things that trigger you about them are reflections of something within you. And that to me is love. So it's redefining everything. It turns everything sort of on its head from a Western perspective of romance. And, well, I don't like this person. I don't like, they're toxic, this and that. Okay, who are you talking to? If we are one, then who are you talking to? Who is a narcissist? Who is toxic? What does that mean about you? And if it doesn't mean anything about you, then you don't believe in oneness. So it's pretty cut and dry to me, but everybody sort of tries to walk around it, where I just go straight to the center of that in my technologies.
Ooh. Wow. Well, and I love that you called it technology, that you're bringing us back to that inner over and understanding that is a technology and everything. And I think right there we have our first deep breath. So for the family out there, if this is your first time, I'd like to take time to remind people that the word heart has the word hear in it. So I don't think that's for any coincidence. The word hear has the word ear in it. So what we do with deep breaths, we don't just let people drop some gems and then we just keep moving on. We're going to feel that truth in our bodies for a second. So I invite you to look somewhere out into the distance out in front of you. I'm looking right into the camera, and breathe in. And on your out breath, slowly close your eyes. Allowing yourself to feel down into your body. Let's connect with our feet here for a second. Bringing on the kidney channel, the bubbling spring that the energy comes up from the ground into our feet. Breathing in, honoring our feet. And breathe out. Bringing the mind into the body. Slowing down for a second. Breathe in. Pulling energy up from Mother Earth, Mother Heart. Notice you take the word earth and you put the H at the front, you have heart. And out. And let's take a moment to reflect on what Kenya just said. She says you don't truly love someone if you don't see yourself in them. That's how you said it, right, Kenya?
Precisely how I said it. Literally, not figuratively.
Let's breathe that in, y'all. Breathe in that truth. Breathe in. Let that come up through your feet. If we love someone, we got to be able to see the reflection of ourselves in them, and vice versa. And out. Slowing down to feel these truths in the body. It's one thing to say, Kenya or whoever, I appreciate you. It's another thing for that appreciation to register in the physical body. Let's do one more. Breathing in. And out. Good. And with that, on your next breath, breathe in. And then on your out breath, slowly open your eyes, allowing your eyes to rise like the sun. Back up. Good. Wow, so Kenya, with you saying that, I want to ask you then about the word honesty. Because so many, I like to play with words. That was one thing that you shined the light on. If you're reading for me way back in the day about scribeness and stuff, and I stepped more into it, even more after that reading. But, the word honesty is dope because it has the word one in it, like oneness. It also has hone, like to hone. I think that's really what it's getting at, like we hone ourselves with honesty. So I just want to hear you freestyle a little bit about honesty and some of the things you just said.
That's an interesting interpretation looking at the breakdown of the words. I think, however, honesty has been misused in our culture. We think that we want someone to be honest. Really, the word honesty actually means, what have you done with your genitals? I mean, I think authenticity carries the vibration of what most people think of when they're thinking of honesty. But because the masses have used honesty so much to simply mean, what are you doing? Are you cheating? Have you lied? How many, where were you last night? That's not what honesty means. So I have substituted that word with authenticity, and I'm sure you have a breakdown for that word as well. But authenticity versus honesty is actually a part of our technology, meaning honesty means, as I said, it's a very limited meaning, and it really doesn't really have a meaning. Honest about what? Are you asking me, what are my 70 trillion thoughts today? Or what is the last time I used the restroom? Honesty about what? Authenticity, in my view, means that I'm going to show up and share what my ego is really thinking. What my ego or my animal really feels. What does my animal feel? What does my ego think? That's authenticity. Honesty, I just don't have a way to say it because you don't owe anyone on the planet you cannot. The reason you don't owe anyone honesty is because you cannot be honest with them. Honesty is if you're talking about literally tell me all of the synapses, all of the thoughts, all of the health issues, financial issues, whatever, that's an encyclopedia for each person. So it's impossible. Authenticity, I can tell you, if you're asking me to be honest, I can be authentic with you. I can say, I don't feel really that inclined to share that type of personal information with you. That's how my ego feels. That's what my ego thinks. Or I don't feel safe sharing where I was last night. That's authenticity. Or, wow, I would love to share that information with you. What type of agreement do we want to make in terms of how much information we share with each other? Because honesty seems to be about information. Authenticity is about how you feel or what you think. So I have separated those. And I think hearing my definition and understanding of it, you can see why I had to separate those.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like honesty is honestly exactly what I was saying, is about a mental concept.
Yeah.
And like you said, we have a lot of thoughts. I've heard as many as 60, 70,000 thoughts a day, which is way over. Like, if we're using our breath to process that, we do about 20,000 breaths. So you can see, like, there's an overload going on for most of us. But I love what you said. Authenticity is about a bodily. That's really dope. Wow.
Yes. How you feel,
Okay.
what do you think? Authenticity is about you being vulnerable about what you feel and what you think. But data and information, I think of that with honesty more.
I love that. Well, and okay, so that brings me to another thing. So for the family out there, I know that some of we got some adepts that tune in and everything, but we have some that are kind of new in their journey. So when you talked about the animal, you know, it makes me think about the Sphinx, right? With the body of the lioness or the lion and the head of the pharaoh or the queen, you know. So what are we talking about when we're talking about the animal part of our being?
Well, I've designated 3 parts of the being just so we can get started. The tree of life actually takes those 3 and designates them into 9 areas of being. So, you know, there's Sahu people, Ba people, and Ab people. So you can think of a Sahu person as animal, you know, and Ab and Ba, Ab being ego, and then Ba being higher self. So I don't know how much your audience knows about the tree of life or whether they use the Kabbalah or the Kemetic interpretation of that. But for us, we made it simple. Ego, animal, higher self. You know, your animal is the part of you that you are wearing. It's a suit. It's a bio-body suit. It's, you know, your senses, you know, your skin, what you feel, fight or flight, your hormones, your heart, your beating heart, you know. You can have emotion. Every human has emotion. Every human has the animal part of them, of us. And sometimes that's hard to accept because it feels like the animal can be out of control. However, that simply takes an initiation process to understand your animal and train your animal, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to control animals because that beats them down. But we do want to be able to have communication with our animal spirit. The animal part of us is so important. We wouldn't have an orgasm. We wouldn't enjoy our food. We would not have a good laugh, a good belly laugh without our animal. So, you know, we want the animal. We like it. That's the emotions. And then the ego moving up is more about your processing unit, your thoughts, your perspective, how you are viewing a scenario, how you define a scenario. The ego is actually the part of us that makes us seem like we're not one. It helps splice up reality so that you think you're looking at a computer, a person, a car, a desk, when we're all one energy. And so it's so interesting because this ego has taken over, especially in our culture where that's what we cultivate, the ego. How are we other? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things, you know, that's like 2 years old. You need to know the difference. Not the same. Well, you do, okay, you can look at the same, but the difference was a big deal. Okay, and so that's our ego. Our ego defines life, judges scenarios, right? But then we have our higher self. And our higher self is that part of us that has no judgment. That is peace itself. It is the part of you that literally runs. Now we have the 70 trillion. 70,000 thoughts a day, ego, but 70 trillion cells your higher self runs. So your ego can manage a few things, but it cannot manage your digestion. It cannot manage your synapses. It cannot manage your kidney function, your liver function, the function of your spleen. So your higher self is the part of you that is running everything, and it is the part of you that is one with all. So these three designations are very important in my work. I find that you can go to the psychologist and sit down and talk for 3 hours, but you still don't know who's speaking. Is that your animal speaking? Is it your ego, or is it your higher self?
Right.
I think the important part of knowing who's speaking is so that you can understand that ego does nothing but misperceive life. Because it's othering things. It's providing the illusion. So why are you believing your ego?
Right.
Your animal, to me, is more viable than your ego because it's feeling things. But your higher self is the most viable perspective that you can actually have. So if your higher self is speaking, wonderful. But most don't know the difference.
Whew. Another deep thoughts for that, y'all. Let's feel right here in this point between your nipples, your breast and chest area. Right here. Ren 17 for those who know the Chinese acupuncture points. But that point right on the sternum. Let's breathe into there. Breathing in. And out. Gently inviting the lungs and heart, the breast and chest to open up a little more. Breathe in. And out. And let's think one more. Let's take some time to introspect on something Kenya just said, that the ego is constantly misinterpreting life. Breathe that in. And out. And slowly opening the eyes. You know, one of the things that I got from your system that I really love, that you don't vilify. You know, like you say, no villains, no victims, but you don't vilify any of these parts of our being. They all have a place at the table. It reminds me in the Yoruba stories about Eshu, and the Eshu still has a place, you know, at the table. Even the devil has a place at the table, so to speak, right? And I love that you still have a place for our shadow to be, that we don't dog out the shadow or welcome it in and work with it. So really powerful work there. Let's see where I want to go with that. Okay, it just came to me as far as so I know that you said that one of the things I heard you say, and shout out to Adina and Magic Moon Mama, you said on that interview that you were that this work is like proving that you are God or Ra or creator, if you will. So let's go into monogamy and polyamory now, like how relationships help prove to ourselves our own divinity. I want to hear you freestyle a little bit on that one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, relationships really is the only religion because it is where you interact with yourself. A lot of people talk about self-love, and I'm like, what is that? Self-love has to do with all of yourself, all of the people in your life. Who is yourself if you're one with all? If I'm saying I am one with all, then who is myself? All things and all beings. So self-love has to do with, after all, our relationships. And relationship is it is where it's the battleground, it's the testing ground. It's where you get to explore your animal, your emotions, your ego, your thoughts, your higher self, your oneness, your unity, your peace. You know, one of the things that we used to learn, I studied in the Kemetic tradition for a long time, and is that, you know, I am not, oh gosh, I let that thought go. God, where did it go? Anyways, it'll come back to me. But relationship is where you literally get to see a reflection of yourself and grapple with what you're looking at. It is so beautiful. And so when I've been married for 30 years. And when I was in a monogamous relationship, it was hard enough looking at my shadow every day and looking at my reflection every day and being tested and, you know, having to develop my animal, develop my ego. You could teach your animal. You could teach your ego. One of the things I had to teach my animal was because what your animal does is have a feeling, and then that feeling is interpreted by your ego, and then you make a judgment. So if I feel angry, Your ego said, you're angry because he didn't do this. And so that's how the ego and animal, they're like best friends. Like ego, like what happened, animal? What you feeling? Oh yeah, that's because he did this. Go get him. Like I had to change so many inner processes in order to get along with my husband. I had to rewire the way that I went about the habitual way that I went about dealing with him. And that means that the relationship is my temple. If I'm using it as such. Because if I have to shift myself in order to coincide and cooperate and cooperate and collaborate with others, then that's my opportunity to grow. That's the only opportunity. I'm not growing anywhere on a mountaintop by myself, chanting to own.
Right.
That's preparation. That being on a mountaintop is preparation. Doing Qigong is preparation. Doing your spiritual work is preparation for when you hit the real battleground.
Dang.
In your relationships where you are tested to see where is your heart, where are you at. So that is very good. I love monogamy, and then to expand into polyamory, we did that at year 12. Was opening up so many more portals for that same growth. But it becomes exponential. So I feel like that's how I got here. Like I'm testing myself on a regular basis with numerous people, and it's fast accelerated growth.
Whew. Wow. Damn. I ain't even gonna lead y'all into nothing, but I think again, taking a moment just to breathe that in, y'all. Wow. Yeah, that's deep. I mean, so many gems there, so much powerful vibration there. One thing that sticks out for me, I'm kind of like you right this moment, trying to grasp a thought this moment. One of the things you said there about is kind of like the proving grounds, though, for us and everything. This is kind of how we get our stripes, so to speak. And I remember Osho talking about, when he was talking about the Buddha, after the Buddha became enlightened, so to speak, and all of creation was said to be trying to get the Buddha to speak, and for 7 days he wouldn't speak because he's like, what the fuck for? They're going to misinterpret what I say, And I think one deity or force of nature, something told him, like, but if even one person understands you, it would be worth the effort. And so he came down and spoke. But what you're saying, and what Osho said, is that you can be little Buddha, which is to take the boat and go across the river, go up the mountain or into a cave somewhere, and we never hear from you. You get, quote unquote, enlightened. But who benefits from that? Or you can be big Buddha. When you go over there, you get the enlightenment, and you come back to the village, and you get challenged by motherfuckers. And that's what you're saying. I love that.
Yes. And I think you double big Buddha if you're going to be poly with all these folks. I mean, you triple Buddha. You the triple smiling Buddha, because, that's what I have really felt that. And even being polyamorous with all of the onlookers, even being on television now, like, come on, this is millions of people have seen this. Right. And it's like, yes, stand in it, hold space, because it is my higher self, I feel, delivering the message that self-love is possible, community is possible. So it's a big mission, and I love it.
Wow. Well, something I want to bring the family to out there too, because I think there's a misunderstanding sometimes about some of these ideas or concepts. So we talked about Big Buddha. I think sometimes when we think about polyamory and stuff like that, people are thinking about big booty, not Big Buddha. It's like, it's about a bunch of people think just sex. We're so, you know what I mean? So I want to hear you talk a little bit about, because what I hear you talking about is some higher consciousness thing. And yes, attractions and stuff play out and stuff too, but it's a bigger concept here. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. I just don't understand why people have disassociated sex from God, goddess. Like, for me, sex means connection to source. Sex, literally. Sex means I am plugging myself in to the source of power. And so I don't see sex in a pornographic way or a way in which like, oh, that's dirty. Oh, you got nasty legs. I don't like that concept has always eluded me. I started reading the Tao of Sexology when I was 13. You understand? I was practicing Tantra by the time I was 18. And, I would tell a story that I got led to that via these sexual malfunctions in our culture. Rapes, molestation. I was like, what is it here that everybody's talking about? What's everybody reaching for me about? and so that's why I read the Tao of Sexology. Like, what? Like, is this a treasure chest? And I found out, why, yes, it is. It's a portal to another universe. It's the tree of life. It's the fountain of youth. It's, you understand, not to mention what creates life. I mean, it's incredible what we are, men and women. And just not to be taught that by anyone in this culture, it just seems a little bit fishy. Like, are we trying to keep this information away from people? Because if you knew it, you're not dependent on anybody, because you can plug into source. If I'm making love with anyone, all of the men that I've had in my life, what they tell me is their dream. And I literally am becoming pregnant with their dream and birthing that into reality. That's the reason for sex. What's the reason on my end? They are utilizing the goddess, worshiping the goddess, feeding the goddess. You understand? Like, building my chi so that I can serve and be of service in my community. So, I'm floored when we think that any relationship is about sex, when your life is because of sex. Your abilities, your chi, qigong, the basis of that is kundalini energy. So I don't know how anybody who knows about all that type of technology can think sex is not a part of that.
Oof. Y'all already know what time it is. Breathe in. You got to on that one. Slowly closing the eyes. Bringing the awareness down to the navel. This place of connection, the physical connection to the mother. Let's breathe in there. Bringing some attention, some charge there. Breathing in. And out. In. And out. Two more. In. Slowing down in the body to feel it. To breathe in that truth. And out. Because your mother and your father were connected physically. And then you were born and had a connection to the physical mother, the umbilical cord. Breathing in. And out. Good. One more in breath. And on the out breath, slowly opening the eyes. Love it. Wow. So much good stuff. And we can go in so many directions, but, what's popping in me now is like, so we talked about things from a sexual standpoint, if you will, and some of the misinterpretations and the traumas that come from those misunderstandings and everything. I want to talk a little bit about the concept of romance, because if it's true that some of us may go into just a different understanding or whatever of the genitals or the genitals, the genies, how we get here. Also the concept of amour and romance and how that has been, and how that throws off relating sometimes. So can I hear you speak to that a little bit?
Well, yes. I mean, when I got married, I think most of us were told that marriage is about romance. And you quickly find out that it's not. I mean, this one, This one, it's not a huge mystery. People find this out all the time. A lot of people, we have this feeling, and if we don't know what our animal is, we don't understand the hormonal cocktail. So the hormonal cocktail that causes attraction, that gets us hooked, where you feel butterflies. You feel, oh my God, I have to see that person. Oh my God, oh my goodness. I mean, that's the only way that the universe is going to get us to hook in here and get this learning. Why else would we relate? There is a reason. It's a hormonal process. The feeling that you want to be romantic, you're in love, and you just don't want to be with anybody else or see anyone else. You want and that's getting you. It's a bunny. It's the rabbit. I'm sorry. It's the carrot in front of the rabbit, and you follow it to where? To the ground zero of your lesson. Your lesson is about to be waiting right there, and you're going to be so richly endowed with dopamines and what's all the other ones that come with it? Oxytocins. You're gonna be feeling so good. Then boom, this trigger is waiting for you, and you will more readily work through the triggers when you have those initial hits. But those initial hits are initial. They're there for the bonding phase, and then they fade out because they figure, you know the assignment. You know that you're one with all things and beings. You know that you're here learning your lessons and growing. You don't need all of those high dopamine hits to be unconditional with this person. But that initial bonding will always reach out for the next person and the next person. That's how we create community. And without community, we would not be here as humans. We do not have fangs or claws. So community was how humans survived in the woods with no fangs or claws. And it's still how we survive. Wild animals, the wildness of nature, we survive because we have each other. So we must create community. And that, I think, that's where romance and hormonal in-loveness has a purpose. But what I see as a divorce-proof marriage coach is that people come to me after 10 years and say, the romance is gone. I say, of course it is. It's not. Of course it is. Wow. Why would it be there? You're moving from romantic love to unconditional love.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow.
You can.
Yeah, if you take that Mission Impossible little case and open it up and choose to take that mission.
God.
Wow.
Woo. Okay,
so with that, Kenya, you bring me in, and as we're coming towards the wrapping up here, I want to ask you this though, since we're on the community piece, and of course the word community has unity in it, and I heard you speak about this with Magic Moon Mama and Adina, the whole idea of like, this is our husband, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, so, and I remember you saying that you can't truly have community if there's sexual tension and people worried about cheating and everything. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because you said it on there, but I want to hear you repeat that one.
Well, look around. Do we have community? You know, in a culture where there is specialness, or where there's a misinterpretation of the romantic feelings that get us hooked and bonded. If we think that's supposed to be forever and that we can own someone or possess someone because we're in love with them, and we don't even know that's only two years long. But if we truly had wisdom, sure, we would create communities where there was none of those lines. The possessiveness, the ownership, all of that. This is what tore many groups apart. The Black Panthers, the United States. Like I can name hundreds of groups that tore. I don't want to say this because this might be a little bit hurtful to some, but patriarchal Africa. Ripped it apart.
Shit.
Ripped it apart. The indigenous cultures that were the longest lasting, like the Musu of China, the Native Americans, the Amazonians, the pre-colonial Africans. The modern day Balinese, where women are free to choose their lovers. That is when you have strong community.
Okay.
And choose as many lovers as they want. All the men are taken care of, all the children are taken care of if the feminine is free. Where the feminine is changed, you have the beginning and the quick end to the culture.
So nobody grabbing a Glock and running off because they sexually frustrated and ain't getting none, because that's really what it comes down to a lot of times.
When the women is free, all the men get fed. Because we don't have to say, I can only give love and light and life to this one. The sun don't act like that. The flowers don't act like that. The trees don't act like that. The earth don't act like that. Why they want us to act like that?
They don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about that. Wow. Right. Word. Yo, that's deep, y'all. Hey, so I feel like on that one, I wanna get you to bring it home. So I want to get you to speak to your vision of the future, like your future self, which I know you always getting interfacing with, and you're a time lord. Tell us, tying in what you just said, closing us out for this portion of it. What is your vision of the future as it relates to relating? And of course, as you said, relating helps us mirror who we are, and so it would also help us with our human potential, our human potential. So what is your vision that you see, your vision, Ion, that you see coming through?
Yes. Well, my vision I see is that, all men protect, love, and care for all women. All women love, honor, cherish all men. All adults care for all youth. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what your age is. I see communities formulating where those are the principles. And then that's the highest principle. All care for all. And then the next level is no victims, no villains, no shame, no blame, no cop-outs, no dropouts. I've written a constitution for our new communities. And it's easy to implement. The technology is there. I don't have to be on the earth to put it in. It's already done. But it's several layers. The biggest layer is that all of us are protecting and serving everyone else. And then we understand who we are. Ego, animal, higher self. I'm not a victim. I'm not a villain. And then we go into the smaller technologies that help us get along as community. That's what I'm implementing. And it's so wonderful. The men love to serve. Men love to see women pleased and pleasured and happy and free. And I just love when my men are that way and can serve their community and the women. And that's what I see for the future in terms of sustainability, oneness in practice.
Ashe. Aho. As Kirti would say, Jai Ma. Praise to the mother, Jai Ma. Whew. All right, y'all. One more deep breath in before we get up and do some Qigong. Breathing in. And out. All right, y'all. So you'll know how we doing deep breaths. We're going to go ahead and close this out with a little bit of Qigong. Go ahead and speak some things into existence to close things out. See you in a second. All right, y'all. Welcome back. So we're going to close out deep breaths today with a little bit of Qigong. You don't know how we do. So we do the 3 treasures, just simple movements. We'll do the movement, and then we'll do a couple where on our out breath, we're going to speak something into existence on the out breath. All right, for the family out there, we're breathing in, scooping up energy from Mother Earth, Mother Heart. Like Kenya just told us, that we get resource, plug into her, bring it up to the breast and chest area, hold it. And breathe out, push the energy back down your body. Slow movements. Qigong is moving meditation. Good. Breathe in. See if you can feel the energy coming up from your feet. Up your shins, your knees, your thighs, up to the genitals, stomach, breast and chest. And then push it back down the body. Good. Last one. Breathe in. Scooping the energy up. Bring it to the breast and chest. And out. Good. Now we're going to do the same movement on the next one. We're going to speak something into existence. So give birth to. Notice how the word birth and breath are similar. Breathe in, scooping up. Hold it in the breast and chest. And say something empowering as you let out this time. We give breath to life and to this oneness, the remembrance, the grand remembrance that we are one in a true, embodied way. We allow this to come true. Breathing in, scooping up. Again, speaking your words of power. We radiate the truth that we are one in a practical, embodied way. We radiate this truth. We allow ourselves to feel it in our ovaries, in our balls, in our bones, our blood. We are the embodiment of this oneness. Last one, breathing in, scooping up. And breathing out, pushing it down. And we allow ourselves to magnetize, to be magnetic, to be magic, to magnetize all the good things in life to ourselves. Even the challenges that help us to remember and hone ourselves and become more authentic. Good. Coming back to Wu-Ji stance, palms facing forward, no effort, and just feel it in your body right now. See if you can feel the chi in your hands right now. If you feel any buzzing in your body right now, that's more oxygen on your blood cells. And of course, that's a good thing. And we'll close out with the next movement. Breathe in, scooping up, bring it up to the breast and chest area. And then push out. This is called big universe, small universe. So make a big universe, expanding. Feeling the expansion of the universe through you. Breathe in and contract. The people of Kemet or Kamut said that everything vibrates. There's rhythm to it. Breathing in. Notice how the word breath has beat in it, as in a heartbeat. And then breathe out. Pushing outward, expanding. The natural expansion ion of charged particles. One more like that. Breathing in. And actually, on this one, let's do our words of affirmation. So something powerful on the out breath, breathing in, and speak something into existence. We allow ourselves to bring in the fun and the laughter and the high living of a high new culture being remembered. The future is now present. We embody it. We birth it. We give breath to it. Breathing in. Last one. We allow ourselves to step into the remembrance, the newness of our own creative abilities, abilities from the heart to bring forth this new civilization. Breathe in, bringing the hands down slowly back to Wu-Ji stance, no efforting. Empty force, empty fullness, and just feel the chi, the prana, the ashe, the ra moving through your body. before we close out, let me see. Is there anything that you want to say, Kenya? Lead us through one of those or two of those? Anything just coming through for you right now?
Yes, it is already done. It is already prevalent. Prevalence is inevitability. You are inevitability. Peace, unity, joy. We are on the way up to that spiral, and we always fall down in order to discover and rediscover new heights in ourselves. And we are reaching one of those greatest heights, and that height is the reconciliation, and it is here. It is done. It is in enjoyment already. It is in movement and in motion, and it is in emotion already. Feel that joy that it is already done, and enjoy it as it lasts.
Asheo. All right, let's do that with one on that. Breathe in, scoop it up, and out. It is inevitable. It is already here. We have the ability, the ability. It is here. It is done. 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 It is won. It is done. It is done. It is done. We have already won, and so it is. Ashe, Aho. All right. You already know. All right, y'all. So thank you all for coming through for deep breaths. Kenya, it was good to reconnect with you. I really appreciate you. Yeah, so much with the reflection and all the beautiful things that you said and the blessing that you give, that you are for all of us, making room for all of us with your wisdom and everything. Thank you so much.
So much fun. Thank you. Enjoy.
All right, y'all. And again, thank you all for coming through with deep breaths. Remember to feel your heart. Speak your truth. And give breath to something new. Oneness.
Okay.